Okay, Flute's in the chat because it is officially time. Favorite segment, and it is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. Dave Meltzer believes fans aren't buying into AEW World Champion Bryan Danielson potentially retiring because of previous fake wrestling retirements. We covered this on the show before, but I just want to touch on this again. Yeah, nobody buys it because the way it went down, too. Danielson's going to come back. Everyone's going to go, yes, yes, yes. It's going to be an unsanctioned match with Moxley or some. We know it's going to happen. And he even said it. He's going to wrestle now and again, but people weren't bought into it at all because we just saw him get stretchered off. So it's just an epic fail. Zero credibility. So this is via Triple H, HHH Paul L. So he goes, zero credibility. AEW is a private company that hasn't opened its books, has lost money every year of its existence, spent over $100 million on payroll annually and rising, books the biggest empty buildings nationwide, spends six figures on licensed entrance music for multiple people, and lost over 50 million on a video game. Yeah, I heard it was like 80 million, like over 80 million for that game. But sure, more profitable than all those time frames Dave mentioned. Let's also account for inflation if you want it to sound even dumber. AEW is just printing money. Exactly. If you account for inflation and all of these things, Dave is talking out of his ass entirely, and it's all private. And the only way, like Eric Bischoff said, the only way he could know any of this for sure is if he owned a piece and had a daddy magic taste. Dave Meltzer says with a conservative model, factoring in no new international deals, and we've already seen a new one yesterday, and no additional TV deals. AEW, next year will be more profitable than the entirety of WCW's 13 years combined, than WWF from 90 to 98 combined, and WWE every year from 2017 to 2011. So think about like this goofy ass math he's doing. This one deal that's a multi-year deal for them will make them more profitable than WWE was in just 2011. No, you scumbag.
You what?
Dave Meltzer, like, think about the pomposity, the disgustingness of what he's even saying here. Oh, so the multi-year AEW deal factoring in their international rights will make them more money than WWE did in 2013? Like, what kind of goofy nitpick is that even to begin with? God damn, man. He's just trying to fuel dumb redact bot talking points. My guys, that's what he's doing. He's just giving them little dumb talking points that they can say on X to make them feel okay and sleep at night. It just doesn't matter. But it is a factoid. So how could you argue it is like a fact? Who gives a? It's like such a weird, obscure thing, dude. The entirety of WWE's 13 years combined. Okay, maybe. I do not believe that, but maybe, and that would be a good one. That's one where it's like, okay, if this one TV deal makes them more profitable than all of WCW's 13 years. But Dave's lying. He's making this up. Dave Meltzer is a known caught. We've caught him lying multiple times on this show.
Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
We know he's lying, and he said they'd have $1 billion, and then now he's doing Steiner math saying that they're going to be. He's lying right now. Don't let him gaslight again. Don't let him lie to you again. Let him say what he's going to say because we're going to laugh at it here and play flutes. He's spiraling, bro. This TV deal is just, it's not what he thought. And that's why he's got to come with all this. Yeah. So he's just spinning the narrative, as it were. We have Dave Meltzer's ratings for WWE Bad Blood. Now, Michael Cole took a shot at Bad Blood. Like, this will be a 5-star classic, or whoever said it. And then Meltzer, everybody was memeing him and saying, like, because they acknowledged him, he gave it a 5 stars. But how could you not give Punk versus Drew a 5 stars? It's an instant classic, an instant rewatch. And then what Dave had the audacity to say is that he doesn't factor in storylines going into the match, because people pointed out, they're like, well, Dave, you gave this match 5 stars. You're acknowledging that the story and all of that mattered, because the moments that made people pop were like the bag full of the beads. Like those are the moments. That's what made the match a 5-star classic to anyone with any sensibility or a brain. And Meltzer admits it and goes, nope, I don't factor in the story going in. So he admits that he just likes moves, and that just the moves are what he's rating these on. So when he watches Britt Baker versus whoever, the moves objectively, and Dave's subjective opinion on objectivity, if you guys are following, the moves in Britt Baker versus like Serena Deeb were as good as the moves in The Rock versus Hogan, and the moves in Ospreay Ricochet weren't as good as the moves in Punk Drew. But then how come every WWE match doesn't get 5 stars? Because he clearly factors in. So what was it, Dave, that gave it the 5? What move was it? The toolbox over the head that gave him the 15 stitches? Like, bro, he's just talking out of his ass. He's lying. We caught you, Dave. Come on this show and defend yourself. I won't go hard. I'm not going to pull a Conan, okay? Trust me, I'll hold your feet to the fire, but come here, Dave. We need flutes everywhere, so he knows. Dave, you need to come on and address this and answer for your sins, son. I've just figured you out, bro. I got you completely figured out. So what was it that made this a 5-star then? What was it? If it wasn't the story and the venue and the build and everything else. But anyway, so Meltzer's a goof. He rates Nia and Bayley 1.75. Like, just hates women's wrestling. Priest versus Balor 3.25. Okay. Morgan versus Ripley 2. Cody, Roman, Solo, and Jacob 4.25. No, I don't think it was a 4.25. I think it was more like a 3 if you're rating it on Phil stars. And yeah, Morgan and Ripley was pretty good too. They botched one spot there, but yeah, Dave just doesn't know. He just puts over the bloodline because he can't argue the data that it's the hardest story in the world right now. You know what I mean? It's going hard in the paint. And then Punk McIntyre, like, he just put it over because Michael Cole put him over. But yeah, he admits it. We caught him red-handed. 5 days ago, Meltzer said that The Rock doing the 1, 2, 3 Rock signaling triple threat at Mania. So this is what Meltzer made up, and I owned his ass on X as well. Okay, what The Rock was doing, it's like Dave's never seen a movie, he's never read a book, he's never seen a play. What The Rock was doing was he was looking at Cody, Jimmy, and Roman in the ring and going 1, 2, 3. Then he did the neck slice off with your heads. So what he was doing was telling Jimmy, Roman, and Cody, because there's 3 of them standing in the ring, off with your heads. But Meltzer goes and he bold-faced just lies to everybody like he does.
Liar!
That's what he does. And he goes, Meltzer said that Rock doing the 1, 2, 3 was Rock signaling a triple threat at Mania. Before that, he said Rock versus Cody, Roman versus Solo at Mania. Now we're to believe that Rock's schedule has drastically changed that much in the past 5 days. He's skipping Vegas. Wrestle purists report this too because they parrot the nonsense because they want to get people disappointed and on The Rock. And so they go, as of right now, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is not scheduled for WrestleMania 41. While that could change. Oh, so maybe it changes, then you're not wrong? You lying pricks. One source said about a potential Rock versus Reigns versus Rhodes match. And Meltzer said a source said about a potential. There's no source who said that. There's no potential of that, or there is potential for anything in the universe, but just saying, dude, there's potential aliens invade tomorrow and there is no WrestleMania. So like I could just say that. Is that news, Dave, you goof? And so Dave says he already gave word that he wouldn't be able to do that match. So he's saying The Rock gave word he wouldn't be able to do that match. Do you understand? And then this dirt sheet runs with it too. Wrestling News Co. And their ass, pure ass. I used to read their reviews on the show. I had to go to Bleacher Report. That tells you how ass Wrestling News Co. is. The Rock has told WWE can't do 41. So they run with it too, right? So here's all of these tweets here as well. Meltzer said what? I swear to God, I'm not making this up. Meltzer thought Rock counting to 3 was Rock saying triple threat match at Mania, roasting him because he's an idiot. And The Rock responds as well. We're about to get to that. Didn't Meltzer think it was going to be Roman Solo? What happened? Meltzer said what responds to that? We can't expect him. We can't be expected to hold him to what he says, which is so true. And then The Rock responds himself. He said, I cannot find it. Yeah, I can't find it. Sorry. But The Rock tweeted him and said, that's so The Rock owned him. The Rock told him what he's saying is lies. And then, and all these dirt sheets chose to run with it. Dave responds to it, though. Okay. The Rock responds to like an Instagram comment saying, yeah, don't believe that you read. Do you guys remember a year ago when Meltzer said the same, The Rock won't be there for whatever? And then The Rock pipes in and goes, that's complete. Then he shows up at the Raw after Mania and he does that angle with Cody. And he's like, yeah, Meltzer, he called out Meltzer, does it again almost a year later, right? He calls out Meltzer again, tells him, don't believe that. Meltzer responds to The Rock, calling on his report. And Meltzer goes, I know that he was not confirmed for the show as of Thursday. He wasn't confirmed for the WrestleMania that's in April as of Thursday.
What?
Meltzer is such a scumbag liar, you guys. I can't believe he just bold-faced, shark-brained, just dead behind the eyes says this to people, man. He goes, so if something changed, I'll find out. But if he wants to do it, he's doing it. It's up to him. They want to know, obviously, going into the Royal Rumble where they're going. And at that point, we'll see. Dave, you don't know what they want. How do you know, Dave? Do you know him? Do you phone him? Do you call him at home? Shut up, bro. Stop. Stop looking so stupid all the time. It's utterly ridiculous, man. The latest on plans for AJ Styles following his injury on SmackDown. Meltzer says, well, he started selling when landing on his feet after a quebrada and was selling an injury. The leg went out when he was doing an ushi-goroshi, and the referee stopped the match. He was pretty mad about the whole thing. Styles was to start a storyline where this would be his farewell tour or doing a retirement tease, and that's the idea, pending MRI results showing the severity of the injury. Well, if he's out for a year, man, you don't want to step on Cena either, so I don't know. Again, blessing in disguise. I hate to be that guy, but it's like Dragunov. Blessing in disguise. Mike Glass says, at Wrestle Times, maybe he's not high like I thought. And Travis Peak says, the way you defend AEW needs to be studied, a true ride or die. And then Meltzer goes, look, you don't, have to, actually accept, read, the comments about, the ring, accept, but there is a rule. You have to, actually read, or listen for me to care when it comes to me. If you don't waste our time. And then Mike Glass says, who's our? Do you have a split personality? It would explain a lot. The flutes. But yeah, Meltzy saying, if you don't read or listen to every word I write, then your criticism of me doesn't matter. He's a delusional main character, weirdo geek, man. That's just the God's honest truth. Dave is nutty, man. Awful wrestling, quote tweets Dave. And Meltzer responds to this guy who says, who cares? Their product sucks. And Meltzer says, you missed all their pay-per-views this year and most of their TVs? ? So Meltzer just saying blatantly, flat out, most of Dynamite's TVs shows have been good, hasn't sucked, and their pay-per-views haven't sucked. Meanwhile, their numbers are down in every regard, and Meltzer we covered it on the show, where he said it's obvious more people are choosing AE or NXT as of late, even though the products, whatever. So Meltzer is trying to explain to us here. He's trying to have people believe that if we watch all the AEW pay-per-views and TV shows, the product actually doesn't suck in one breath, but then in another breath, he wants to try and explain away that more people are choosing NXT. Why? So both are good, Dave, even though you think NXT, because Dave thinks NXT sucks, apparently, according to him. So, there's no lack of consistency in the logic. And that's what you can point out a mile away. He's a snake oil salesman. Meltzer should probably retire at this point. LMAO, shout out, but why Alyssa? So the actor Man Essex says, are you really not working Mania 41? Say it ain't so. And yeah, here's The Rock saying, don't believe any of that. So Dave just getting owned again. And so Dave telling people, what, you don't watch the TV show and you don't watch the PLEs? He puts them over for a 5-hour, 20-minute show to where chat. You guys were here. We were like, man, this dragging on and on and on. There's no end in sight. We didn't care about 90% of the matches. It was a glorified long Dynamite. And here's the other thing, too. I pointed it out on the live show. What did Meltzer say about Bad Blood? Oh, man, it was an angle show. That's what he called it. And he's like, oh, there was too much run-ins. AEW Wrestle Dynamite had the same amount of run-ins, angles, returns, schmozzes. He's not calling it an angle show. He's not calling it a run-in show. And but yeah, Meltzer says this was a 5-hour and 20-minute show, and there was not 1 second on the show where I think it dragged or went too long. He's lying to us. He's lying.
Liar!
Meltzer is lying to us. He says, I got tons of comments, and after, he's always saying he got tons of comments. I got tons of comments, and after an AEW show, it's usually pretty positive, but there's always this, but it was too long. But there was not one person who sent me anything today who said it was too long. It was an easy watch. Nothing dragged. Every match was good. I disagree, brother. Everything started to drag at one point. Delusional Dave at it again. What more can I say, chat? You guys already know. Anyone who believes Meltzer and takes his star rating system as objective facts deserves to be swindled out of their money. I agree. And here's the thing is that Meltzer claims his star ratings are objective facts. That's why people go, the lamest take is like, who cares about his star ratings? Why does anyone care? Because, dum-dum, he says they're objective fact. He's hustling people out of money while lying to them about the hot news. That should be taken to task. I'm so sorry. If you're going to argue to me that you don't factor in the story, but Punk versus Drew was a 5-star match because of not the story, that you're a dum-dum. You know what I mean? I'm so sorry. I get why you love AEW so much. So Dave Meltzer talks about Jimmy Jacobs' departure, and he says nobody had anything bad to say. I was just told that aside from Tony Khan, who goes to every single show, I think Jimmy Jacobs went to more shows while he was there than anyone because he was there every taping pretty much. I got the impression it was his choice. I don't think he was fired or anything. My impression was very strong that he left and it was travel burnout, perhaps. It's nothing big or anything, but he did make it clear that he did not do nearly as much writing of the shows as people think he did. So everyone blaming Jimmy Jacobs. He was the writer. He's Tony's right-hand man. He wrote this. He came up with this. He didn't want to do this. And then Meltzer's going, he wanted people to know he didn't write nearly as much of the show as people thought. He worked very closely with Tony Khan as far as taking notes, and he would suggest ideas, but he was not as much laying out creative things as other people there. There was the idea that he was like the number 2 guy in creative, and he was technically not in creative. He was an assistant to Tony, but he did suggest ideas in creative when he would talk to Tony. And apparently Will Washington, because there's no long-term creative, he took over that role for Jimmy Jacobs. So here's an Alfred Konuwa video. After recording this clip, Alfred says, I saved it as Meltzer wrong, and my MacBook said, this title already exists. Would you like to replace it? So I changed it to Meltzer wrong again, and it said, this title already exists. So funny, dude. I feel that.
Dave Meltzer did it again. The fraud journalist got another story wrong. He's broken his own record for most up stories in a calendar year, and it's still over 2 months to go. In the Wrestling Observer tabloid, Midlife Meltzer wrote that The Rock would not be competing at WrestleMania 41 due to his schedule and inability to get into wrestling shape. The Rock pulled up on IG and called that story. For those keeping score at home, that is the 4th story Meltzer's gotten wrong this year about the Anoa'i family alone. If Glaze Meltzer is a fair and balanced journalist he wants you to think he is, he's not. He's got to add himself as a nominee for most disgusting
Glaze Meltzer
promotional tactic for increasing the price of the Wrestling Observer tabloid and proceeding to screw up more stories than a preschool teacher on LSD. An extremely inaccurate Dave Meltzer did.
That is amazing, and it's so accurate. And yeah, I didn't realize that too. That's 4 stories about the Anoa'i family, which is the size of 4 families. This year alone that he's gone wrong about that family. And Meltzer really needs to learn to just simply
Shut up, bitch!
Breaking. Dave Meltzer has a new idea for AEW. Frankly, we should all feel embarrassed to have not thought of this already. Here's Dave Meltzer claiming, I have a new great idea. I'm going to put that on the soundboard. AEW should run smaller buildings. And it's just like, Dave, you listening to PWT or what?
I have my new idea on what they should do, and it's sort of similar to what they did with the collision thing, but not go to the same market over and over and over again. I mean, if they can get it and they can get like a local whatever it is to like help support them like they did in Arlington, that deal, which was a good deal for them. That's cool. But I think that the idea should.
Yeah, hopefully they can get a local whatever it is. Sakes.
This is my theory is book 2,500 seat buildings in markets. You are going to probably end up with $100,000 gates instead of like 150,000 or 180,000 gates. Now, if you're in like a New York or
holy man, Meltzer. Oh my God. I have a new idea. They should run like the 2,500 seat houses and get like $100,000 gates like they do in TNA. And that's why they're thriving right now. Dave is such a wiener.
Chicago.
You mean this idea I've been saying for 2 years? You mean this idea I repeat every show? And you mean this idea that you stole from Phil Marks where I was like, you know what? These shows look really good in these smaller buildings. Dave Meltzer's a piece of... I have a new idea, Dave. How about you stop talking, dummy? Yeah.
No, that's too small. But in most of these markets, go for a 2,500 seat building. Obviously push matches way ahead of time, push the on sale, and go in there with the idea, because if it's because a lot of people wait till late now.
And that's the thing. Tony doesn't run house shows, so he doesn't understand the long-term booking that goes into, okay, on TV, Undertaker's fighting Batista. In 3 months, we're going to have JBL fighting Batista on the house shows to get them ready for their next feud or whatever. There's no thought of that. So even him going, announce the matches in advance. We know because of the boys and their lawsuit that AEW, like, you'll be messaging them all week going, hey, do you need me? Do you need me? Do you need me? And then they need you on the weekend. They tell you Thursday night they need you for the weekend. Because they don't know. They don't even have production meetings.
Thing is like, why buy tickets when they come out? That's why you're getting numbers like 1,000 or 1,500 tickets, because you know that the smart people, and the AEW fan base is generally a smart fan base.
Oh my God. Oh, listen to that one more time. Oh my God.
1,000 or 1,500 tickets, because you know that.
That's why you're getting numbers like 1,500 tickets. No, bro. You get those numbers because no one's going to the shows. There's 3,000 there tonight. So there was like 1,200 people who walked up to get tickets at this Dynamite. Dave goes on to say the smart thing to do is this. And generally, AEW fans are really smart. How do you know that? See, he gaslights these people. He's blowing the complete and utter morons who listen to him, and he knows they're dumbest. And we know they're dumbest because Dave is dumbest, and he's swindling these dumb. Do you guys understand? He's gaslighting us out and going, yeah, AEW fans are typically more intelligent and smarter, and he does this all the time because they're actually way dumber, but he's like gassing them up. Yeah, you guys are so smart, aren't you? Oh, smart people, so smart, aren't you? And then they go, yeah, we're smarter than these Fed drones. That's why they just don't understand this kind of wrestling. When it has nothing to do with understanding it, it's stupid. No, we do understand it so well that there's zero nuance to it. And it's not good enough in 2024 to stimulate my brain because we have content all around us. And you have to be innovative and you have to tell good stories. You idiots. So, no, they're actually dumber. Dave's going off some fake report he read that AEW fans are smarter. And he's sitting there saying the smart thing to do is for people to walk up. And AEW fans are generally really smart. But the majority of them aren't walking up. The majority of them are buying the tickets. So Dave is so dumb. This is how stupid this guy is, chat. And I point this out. Nobody points this out the way I point this out. Meltzer is like, yeah, AEW fans are really smart. They're typically all really smart. The majority of them, though, aren't doing what you're claiming the smart thing to do is, though, Dave. The majority of them are buying in advance. Are you guys following me? Like, he's such an idiot. His logic, there is no logic. Nothing he says makes sense. He's a snake oil salesman. And this stupid, dumb Dynamite show ended with Jay White losing after Jay White just beat Hangman in a match. And they're doing the same thing where Anna Jay just got beat by what's her face at the pay-per-view or whatever on the pre-show or last Dynamite or whatever, and now Dynamite, Anna Jay attacks her or whatever, and then we're going to get a rematch. And this is the same booking in every story. Oh, Hangman and Jay White fight for no reason, then Hangman gets involved, and then they fight again in a rematch. That's why you're getting these low ticket sales, Meltzer. Let's listen to him lying, coping, and gaslighting again.
That's why you're getting numbers like 1,000 or 1,500 tickets, because you know that the smart people, and the AEW fan base is generally a smart fan base, they know to wait till the end. And that's why you're getting a lot of, not in every city, but in a lot of cities, you're getting some really good buys, once you start doing the 2-for-1s or 30% offs. And WWE's doing that.
Only smart people know how to use 2-for-1s and 30% off. And then he goes on to say WWE is doing that too. And the AEW fans are typically smart. Like he just said, they're typically really smart. And the smart thing is to do this. But the majority of people are not buying them last minute. And he's trying to say smart people know how to use coupons better or whatever. And then he says WWE is doing it too. So then wouldn't WWE's fans be smart too, typically? He's such a gaslighting, lying piece of. It's absolutely spoken like a 3% shareholder. Exactly. It's dreadful, man. The end of this Dynamite with referee looking around, overselling, and Hangman. That's what is turning. That's why you're getting these numbers, Dave. Listen to him completely lie, try and on the WWE fan base, make himself look stupid, make those fans look stupid, and try and explain coupons to people, and only smart people use 30% off discounts the day of.
They know to wait till the end. And that's why you're getting a lot of, not in every city, but in a lot of cities, you're getting some really good buys, once you start doing the 2-for-1s or 30% offs. And WWE's doing that too. WWE's Barclays Center shows 30% off, now. That's just how it is. Like when WWE's selling everything out in advance, they don't have to do it. But that's the new thing. That's what everyone does. And
who's everyone? There's only 2 promotions. Is TNA doing that?
They should just go in there, with $40 tickets, basically. So people can, it's not a big $150 for seats and things like that. And go in there and make it to where, you got to buy your tickets ahead because you're going to sell out, right away. And all of a sudden, in these 2,500 seat buildings, they're sold out the first day, the first week. All of a sudden, the perception is this is a hot product again, rather than these pictures, of 13,000, 14,000 seat buildings with.
Dave Meltzer cracked it. He cracked the code. He's saying what I've been saying forever. And this guy has the audacity to sit here and go, oh my God. Oh my God. He's saying the oldest ever. And now he has to say it. He's parroting everyone. He goes, my new idea, like it's his idea. That's what JD from NY does too. Not even taking shots at him, but he's like, he says this. That's like, what do you Phil Marks now? I love a good Phil rant. Yeah, for $5. Thank you, Plinian. Yeah, who doesn't, But yeah, man, Dave is so cute when he does like that. I wrote, I'm going to have a field day with this one. That's Conan and Meltzer right there. And we'll get to that in a minute. But Meltzer said, many people have said, I told you so 5 years ago. And this guy goes, Young Bucks not taking enough credit for the wealth they have created for others in wrestling by helping start AEW from 2019. Either 20 million net worth is amazing, but starting AEW changed dozens of hundreds of lives. Yeah, we know. And then Meltzer goes, the most polarizing Hall of Fame candidates. What? Many have said it was a crime they didn't get in last year. Many others probably will never vote for them almost no matter what. It's the lines of those who think AEW is a success and those who think the opposite. Right, but it is a success, like as far as it's a wrestling company that employs people, okay, but it's not a success as far as TV accolades or pay-per-view sales, video game sales, or anything like that. Record gates, the Wembley thing was like pretty much a lie. That was exposed, so maybe the Wembley thing was good, but then we saw this year they did half, and it's good for the individuals. It's not good for the wrestling business in general. I will personally say that, the Harvard Crimson. So Trump also builds credibility with his supporters by confidently throwing around phrases such as many people have said this or everyone knows that. So yeah, that's what Meltzer does. He's always like a source. People tell me whatever. So he's just basically showing what you're doing is Trumpian, Connecting Meltzer to old Trumpazoid there.